Hey everybody, Rachel Mikulov here from Empire Tax Professionals. I'm the CEO of Empire Tax Professionals, and I'm also licensed by the IRS, licensed in 50 states. And today I want to go over the specific things that you need to do or you need to know about the PPP 1, PPP 2, and the EIDL. I'm going to go over specific qualifications for every single type of loan. And if you have any specific questions, let me know what your questions are in the comments below. And I'm going to have a licensed enrolled agent who is on my team, who has over 30 years of experience, answer your questions. And he is honestly amazing, and you'll see he's going to answer your questions in a very thorough way. So comment below, ask your questions. And again, we're both licensed by the IRS, and we're here to help every single business owner out there that's suffering or struggling due to COVID-19. So again, feel free to share this video with others because this may help any other business owner who's struggling. There are a lot of business owners that are struggling out there, and if this information can help them, why not? Let's just help the world. So what loans are available right now for small business owners? As many of you know, there are a lot of loans, actually 3 specific loans that are available due to COVID-19. One is the PPP 1. The second one that's just coming out is the PPP 2, which is considered as the second draw. And then the third loan is the EIDL, which a lot of you know about, and it's not really new, but there are new regulations to see if you qualify for the EIDL loan. So I'm going to go over again, who are we? Because there are a lot of people out there that are just, giving lots of tax advice or lots of advice, and they're not even qualified to give any specific advice, especially regarding any of the PPP loans. Again, I'm licensed by the IRS. My company and my team has helped over 100 business owners apply for the PPP 1, and we're also going to help businesses apply for the PPP 2. And we already got about $4 million of loans, and most of it is going to be forgivable because the EIDL is not forgivable, just the PPP 1 or the PPP 2, which I would explain specifically how to get those loans forgivable. But we already got close to $4 million, and we already have experience on, working with lenders, specific documentation that you need in order for you to qualify. And documentation varies based on if you're applying for the PPP 1 or the PPP 2 or even the EIDL. There's just different things that we need to see if you qualify for depending on the loan that you're getting. So again, I'm licensed by the IRS. We have a team of 20 who are, not licensed by the IRS, but they're accountants, and, onboarding specialists, admin, and we have one CPA that's going to be submitting all of the PPP applications on our behalf and the EIDL applications to specific lenders, and they're going to be reviewing to see, if you qualify and how much are you going to be getting. And the reason I'm telling you this is because there are a lot of businesses that went to banks, and a lot of lenders and specific, like the bank representatives, don't know what they're doing because they're not getting enough training. We took a lot of training on this specific topic so we can help businesses. And I'm telling you, I spoke to so many businesses with my own ears, and they said, oh, I applied with Bank A, Bank B, Bank C, and we got denied. Why did they get denied? Because the banks or the lenders don't know, what you qualify for. They don't know, oh, you need to have payroll, or you need to, be on a 1099, or they don't know specific things that you need to do in order for you to qualify for the loan. So by the time they already wanted to go to a different bank, the loan, there was no money already. And I'm telling you, I personally spoke to several people already who did not get PPP 1 because they relied on one specific professional, hoping that specific lender is going to help them, and they were unable to help them. And as soon as they wanted to go to a different bank, money ran out. It's always best for you to speak to someone that knows exactly what they're doing, someone that has a proven track record, that has, experience with submitting these applications, with making sure that, they know exactly if you qualify and what you qualify for. I have somebody recently that reached out to me, and they said, Rachel, I'm a C Corp. I don't have any payroll. Do I qualify? I said, no, you don't qualify. And she tells me, I spoke to Chase and they said that I do qualify. I said, I'm telling you, you don't qualify. I'm telling you 100% you don't qualify. She said, okay, you know what, let me go through that lender. I'm going to submit all my documentation. She submitted tax returns, driver's license, bank statements, whatever they needed. And then a few weeks later, she said that they told her that she does not qualify. You don't want to waste your time, and you want to make sure that you know who qualifies for what loan specifically and what documentation you need in order for you to get the loan. So you get the funds immediately. You're able to use it for specific reasons, and I'll tell you what you could use it for. And then, it's just, money is so important right now, and you don't want to wait or jump around between lenders to see who's going to give you and who's going to, give you the money fastest. It's a lot faster when you work with a specific company who can review everything, submit it, and you're going to get the funds right away, and plus guide you on what you need to do in order for you to get that loan forgivable. Okay? So next. So what can we help businesses with? We can help businesses with submitting your application for the EIDL, submitting the application for the PPP1 and the PPP2, okay? So the PPP2 is the Payroll Protection Program. Again, it's for businesses that have payroll, and I'll explain to you who qualifies, etc. So EIDL qualifications. Borrowers must have suffered a 30% economic loss, okay, over an 8-week program, and there's a specific date. It has to be between March 2nd of 2020 and December 17th of 2021 in order for you to qualify. Before, they did not have these requirements, but you need to show a 30% decrease in revenue within those dates in order for you to apply for the EIDL. You also cannot employ more than 300 people. If you have more than 300 employees, which most of my Facebook, people won't have, but if you do, then you don't qualify. You must be a qualifying business. Now, if you're a W-2, you don't qualify, but if you have a business, either if you're a sole proprietor, a C Corp, an S Corp, a non-for-profit, you do qualify, and I'll explain to you even more what you need to do based on the entity that you are if you qualify. But if you are a C Corp, S Corp, as long as you have payroll, you would qualify, and I'll explain to you later what you need to do. So the formula to calculate your EIDL, a lot of people don't know how they got the EIDL calculation, how did they get $20,000 or how they got $150,000. What is the exact calculation? And I'm going to go over that with you here. So your gross profit divided by 12 months. Let's say your gross profit is $100,000. You divide that into 12 months, then you times it by 5 months. So $100,000 divided by 12 times 5 equals to $41,000. If you did not get that specific calculation, that means that you did your EIDL application incorrectly. I've seen a lot of people, I actually spoke to somebody like earlier this year who made $1 million, and I think she got like $10,000 to $15,000, and I'm like, did you do this yourself? She said yes, and I said, you probably did the application incorrectly because what you got makes no sense. It doesn't make sense how the calculation, and I think I told her that you're able to email the SBA to apply for a reconsideration so they could see what was incorrect on the application, and that takes months. So how much did it cost her for her to submit the application on her own? She got the wrong amount, and now she's going to wait for the money and run after SBA. I mean, who that's just such a headache. A lot of people don't have the time for that. So it's always best to submit your application with a professional to make sure that everything is 100% accurate and you're able to get the most that you can legally. We've seen business owners get up to $150,000 and their gross revenues were like $400,000, $500,000. The max that you're able to get, that we've seen is $150,000, and it's a 30-year term, 3.75%, and you pay the SBA a year later, okay? So a year later, you pay the SBA. It's on your anniversary date. That's when you start making the payments to the SBA. But remember that the interest accrues immediately from day one. So you may not see, the interest payments on a monthly basis, but you do start paying interest from, the time that you got the funds and immediately. Okay, next. PPP1 qualifications. Businesses with 500 or less employees may qualify. So EIDL, 300 employees. PPP1, 500 employees. You can be a sole proprietor, an independent contractor, an S Corp, or a C Corp. Now, sole proprietor and independent contractors, you don't need to issue payroll to yourself because the net is your payroll. You're paying self-employment taxes on your net. So you do qualify if you're a sole proprietor or an independent contractor. Now, we've had so many business owners get rejected because they said, oh, I'm a 1099. I don't issue payroll to myself. I don't qualify. Do you know how many people I spoke to that didn't apply because they thought that in their head? That's not true. If you are a 1099 or a sole proprietor and you file a Schedule C, you do qualify. Now, if you have a loss, you don't qualify. But if you have a net income, then you do qualify. Do you see there's so many different, calculations depend on your specific situation. If you're a C Corp, then you need to have payroll. And if your net is high, then you don't qualify. If you're an S Corp, you must have payroll. And the way that you would know that, if you look at your S Corp return, look at line 7 or 8. 7 would be officers' compensation. Line 8 would be salaries and wages. And you would see, did you issue yourself payroll? Or you would have 940 forms, which is an annual payroll form, or 941 every quarter. And you would see if you qualify. 1099s, independent contractors, you won't have any payroll returns, but you would have a net income. And line 31 of your Schedule C, again, if you divide that by 12 times 2.5, which I'm going to go over, it depends on what industry you're in. That is your PPP 1 calculation, okay? So again, S Corps and C Corps with payroll qualify. I just want to make sure I have my notes here, and I want to go over all of the specific details with everybody because it's so important, and every single fact matters. Non-for-profits and churches do qualify as well, but the rates actually for the EIDL, they also qualify. The rates are 2.75%, so just letting you know that. And certain individuals who are involved in bankruptcy proceedings, you can qualify as well. So PPP 1, you don't need to have a 25% decrease in revenue. You just need to have payroll. You need to have 940, 941s. Again, if you're a C Corp or an S Corp, you must have payroll. If you're an independent contractor, a single member LLC, or a sole proprietor, and you file a Schedule C return, then you need to have a net income. Okay, so next. PPP 2. What are the qualifications for PPP 2? Everybody needs more money right now. There are a lot of businesses that are still struggling and they want to get the second draw. And it was signed a week ago, and we want to and I'll go over the specific things that you need to, if you qualify or not. So again, it's the same exact as the PPP 1. But you need to demonstrate a 25% decrease in gross revenue in the same quarter as the prior year. So let's say second quarter, which is when, the shutdown happened, right? I believe it was March 16th, 2020. The entire, everybody went into shutdown mode, right? I think in New York, I don't know about other states, but everybody went into shutdown mode. Now, most of the second quarter, that's when most of the revenues will show a decrease for most businesses. So let's say April, May, and June 2019, you showed $100,000 in that 3 months, right? That's your 100% of income. Now, to show a 25% decrease in revenue in 2020, you need to show $75,000 for that quarter. It has to be quarter 2, 2019 compared to quarter 2 of 2020, or quarter 1 of 19 and quarter 1 of 2020, or quarter 3 of 19 compared to quarter 3 of 2020. You need to show a decrease in revenue in the year of 2020 in order for you to qualify, for the PPP2 loan. If you don't have that, then you don't qualify. You must show a 25% decrease in revenue in any quarter. So I hope that explains it, because the law, the way it's written, it's very confusing. It has to be in the same exact quarter. You can't compare it from quarter 1 to quarter 3 or quarter 4 to quarter 2. Same quarters, 2 years. Now you are able to get 2.5 payroll. Again, same thing, $100,000 divided by 12 times 2.5 is what you are able to get. And that's usually up to $20,833 per employee, okay? Now, if you're a restaurant owner and you have an NAI, that's like a National Association Industry Code on your tax return, and it's mainly for like hotels, the travel and lodging industry, restaurants, and if you have an NAICS code that starts with 72, then only for your specific industry, you are able to get 3.5 your payroll amount. So again, $100,000 divided by 12 times 3.5, you're able to get $29,166 for each employee that you have, okay? So if you're in the restaurant industry, you want to go back to your tax returns, make sure that the NAICS code is 100% accurate. It starts with 7.2. It doesn't start with like food manufacturing. We have a client right now that's a restaurant, and the accountant put a different NAICS code, and now we're going to amend the returns to show that it is indeed a restaurant, and so he could, take advantage of the 3.5 payroll for his employees. So regular employees for PPP2, 2.5%, restaurant and any business that starts with NAICS code 7.2. And you could actually Google NAICS code 7.2 list of businesses. You're gonna see the specific businesses that do qualify, and you're able to get 3.5 times your payroll for the prior year. And again, it's the same exact thing. S corps if you do have payroll, C corps if you have payroll, sole proprietors based on your line 31, and single member LLCs, again, if you're taxed as a sole proprietor, same exact thing. And if you're an independent contractor, you qualify as well. So next question is, how do you get your loan forgiven? That's one of the questions, right? Because everybody wants free money. Everybody wants to make sure that this loan is 100% forgivable. And the PPP1 and the PPP2 are forgivable if you apply for forgiveness. So let's say they give you $29,000 day one, and you're going to use the money for specific reasons, which must be for rent and for payroll. Now I have the specific calculation here. 60% must go towards rent. Okay, I'm sorry. Whoa. 60% must go towards payroll. Okay, so again, it's the payroll protection program. You need to use those funds to pay for your payroll. It could be, 100% can go to payroll as well if you have all your employees and you're keeping them, but 60% must go to payroll. The other 40% can go to different expenses, such as your rent, mortgage interest, if you own the property. So it has to be a commercial property. It cannot be, if you're working from home, and it cannot be a home mortgage. So it has to be a business mortgage. It has to be a commercial property. So rent, utilities, and mortgage interest. Those expenses you're able to deduct it, and have the loan forgiven if you use it for the other 40%. And if you want, again, you could use it for 100% for payroll, and everything would be forgivable. Now, you need to submit a application with the SBA in order for you to get the loan forgivable. As soon as you get payments, it's a loan. You use it for specific reasons. Like I said, 60% for payroll. The rest could be rent and utilities, or a mortgage interest if it's business, if it's a commercial property. And once you use it for that period, then you're able to apply for forgiveness. And they may ask you for documentation, they may not, but it's always better for you to keep that documentation just in case if they ask you. You always want to make sure that you have perfect record keeping tips, especially if you want the entire loan to be forgivable and you don't want, it's just so annoying to go through audits. You just have a PPP folder, PPP1, PPP2, you show proof that you have a 25% decrease in PPP2, show proof of your 940, 941s, bank statements, and then what you used it for, and boom, it's going to be 100% forgivable. Next. So there are a lot of questions that people have been asking us. A lot of people don't know. Again, it's just very confusing, the laws and different, if it's a C Corp, if it's an S Corp, if it's a 1099, who qualifies for what, how much. And, there are other, I'm not telling you every little thing, because you could add even insurance and retirement and specific. There are specific little things that it may be too complex for me to explain, and you are able to get a little bit more. That this is why it's always best for you to hire a professional, because you may lose out on on money. So here are some of the questions. How large of a loan can I get for the PPP? You can receive 2.5 times your average payroll costs. Again, $100,000 divided by 12 times 2.5 is what you're able to receive. And if you're in the restaurant industry, you're able to get 3.5 times your average payroll costs. Okay, next. how does the PPP affect my taxes? This is one of the most common questions that businesses are asking us. The forgivable PPP is not going to be taxed. So let's say, somebody asked me, I spoke to somebody this week and he said, Rachel, I got $75,000 of PPP. Is that income? No, that is not income. You do not consider that as income. And I hope your accountants would know that that's not income. And I would prefer for you to double check your income for 2020 to make sure that the PPP was not added to your income. Now, you are able to double dip and you are able to deduct the expenses, the payroll, the rent expense, the utilities, you in 2020 because you use it for the appropriate expenses. So you can still write those expenses off. So again, the forgivable PPP loans will not be taxed. Therefore, you will be paying less taxes in 2020. So it is a very big advantage if you do take the PPP, especially if it's free money and you have somebody guiding you and letting you know what you need to use the money for. Why not? We helped over 100 businesses get about $4 million, and most of it is going to be forgivable. And I say most because the EIDL is not forgivable. So if I use the PPP, so the next question, if I use the PPP loan to pay for business expenses, can I still write them off? Yes, you can write them off. The new rules just recently came out, and yes, you can deduct them, okay? Next, how long do I have to apply for the second PPP? The PPP program is open up until March 31st of 2021, or until funding is available, or until funding is exhausted. So I've seen the funds, I think the money is going to run out probably in 3 to 4 weeks because there are a lot of people that applied for PPP 1 and then the funds were exhausted. So now all of the people that applied back in July, August, and September, and because they didn't have any more funds left, they're going to be getting the funds first because it's going to be based on first come, first serve. And I really think within 3 to 4 weeks, the funds will be exhausted. So I highly recommend making sure that you qualify. Don't waste your time if you don't qualify. But, this is what we do, and this is how we help business owners. We review your documents, we see, do you qualify? And if you do qualify, how much exactly are you going to be getting? Because we know how to calculate the exact calculation for the EIDL, for the PPP 1 or PPP 2, and then helping you get the loan forgiven. We also help businesses with making the loans forgivable. So if you got the loan on your own, or if your accountant helped you get the loan and now they're not available, because we're seeing that a lot too, we can help you get the loans 100% forgivable. And we're going to ask you for, specific backup and documentation proving that you use it for the appropriate funds. Okay, so what are the exact requirements for the PPP? Again, requirements for full forgiveness include at least 60% allocated for payroll, and the remaining 40% will be for qualifying expenses such as mortgage, commercial mortgage, rent, utilities, and employers must maintain similar levels of employment and pay what they had during, right? You have to have the same exact employees before the pandemic. Again, that's like, we could give you more information about that. So it's a little bit more complicated, which is why I don't recommend you doing this yourself, because the entire loan can be not forgivable if you mess up one thing, okay? Next, I guess that's it. So if you have any specific questions, comment below what your questions are. Paul is on with me live right now. He's going to be answering any questions via Messenger. If you have any specific questions, let me know what your questions are. Both Paul and I are licensed by the IRS. We have a team full of 20 people who consist of licensed enrolled agents. We have one CPA working with us about 30 to 40 hours a week, processing all the PPP applications and the EIDL applications. And I specifically state that only to let you know that, we don't have admins processing the PPP applications. We don't have, you just need to be really careful. And we don't have like bankers that don't care. And they're just submitting like a robot, the application and saying, you got denied, you got accepted. They don't care. These lenders and a lot of these customer service reps, they're exhausted. And this is why a lot of banks don't even offer it when you go in. Everything is online because it's just way too many rules. They're not going to go there, study it, and give the responsibility to the bankers so they can see who qualifies or not. It's just literally all online, and there are a lot of lenders that are completely exhausted. And you may wait and wait and wait, and by the time, and it really depends which lender you work with, because there are lenders that have a specific amount of money and they could exhaust the funds. And now let's say, Wells Fargo exhausted funds. Now you're going to go to a different bank and say, oh, let me apply. So now you're all the way at the last person online, and who knows if you're going to even get funds. And I'm telling you, we've seen this, and when the funds were available at the PPP one, we've seen so many businesses apply. They didn't get any funds. They needed additional documentation. They missed the email. They didn't upload the documents properly. We work with a specific lender. It's a franchise, actually. And as soon as we submit the application, he's able to confirm it on his end that he received it. He tells us specifically immediately, the same day, or like I'm telling you, he even works at nights, letting us know exactly what they need, driver's license, whatever is needed. Once we email him what's needed, he's able to move that application for further processing and do everything he can for our clients so they can get funding immediately, and we're also going to help them get the loans forgivable. So again, if you have any specific questions, let us know what your questions are. Be very specific who you work with, because I've seen also that if you apply in multiple lenders, then you will get rejected, because they're going to see an application here, they're going to see an application here, and they're going to say, oh, we see two applications. Is it fraud? Is it, what's going on here? They're going to reject you both. Okay, both applications would most likely be rejected, or you could both get accepted. And now what are you going to do? Now you need to call the vendor and give the money back. We've seen that too. And most of these lenders don't even pick up the phone. And you're going to need to go to your bank, ask them to take the money back, because now you applied, it's fraud. You got the PPP twice, and it's really scary. You never want anybody's money that's not yours in your account. I can't even imagine how scary that is. Not even for a minute, not even for a second. And sometimes you may have the funds in your account for days, for weeks, and you're going to ask the bank to give the funds back. And it's just like, it's a lot of, anxiety and stress, and you just don't want to do that. It's always best to apply with one lender that can help you, expedite the loans, we can help you. We're working with a specific lender who has a proven track record of expediting these loans. And we've had a lot of success submitting the EIDL, again, PPP1, if you didn't get it yet, and the PPP2, and we know exactly who qualifies and for what specific situation. If you have any specific questions, please comment below or PM me. Let me know what questions you have, and we will review your documents, let you know again if you qualify, how much you qualify for, and what is the next steps for us to work together. Okay, also, don't forget, you need to have your numbers. You need to have your bookkeeping numbers. Tax season is right around the corner. Don't forget, if you're, a corporation, your tax returns, your S-Corp returns are due March 15th. Partnership returns are due March 15th. Individual returns are due April 15th. And C-Corp returns are due April 15th. So you want to get your bookkeeping up to date. If you need help with your bookkeeping for tax year 2020, entering every single transaction into QuickBooks, making sure every single expense is properly classified according to the IRS code, and deducting every single expense so you can pay the least amount of taxes. That is exactly what we do. We don't do data entry. We review every single expense and see, okay, Staples, did you use it for your business? Yes, let's deduct that. Did you use your phone bill? Did you use, there are a lot of accountants that won't deduct cash as an expense, but we'll ask you, hey, what did you use your cash for? Did you pay somebody to move your car, or to move, something from office to office, or whatever? And we'll ask you specific questions. I've seen so many bookkeepers who assume so many things that are personal. And if you have people, accountants and bookkeepers, who assume expenses are personal, right, then your income is much higher. And when your income is much higher, you pay higher taxes. I had a client who recently, like last year or 2 years ago, there was a conference, it was like a marketing conference in Disney World, okay? And the accountant assumed that the entire Disney trip was 100% personal. It was 100% business, because the conference was at the Disney World location. The meals she classified as personal, the travel she classified as personal, and that's a couple of $1,000s. When I asked him, I said, did you go to this conference? He said, yes. And I said, okay, all of it is classified under owner's equity / distributions. And I'm like, this is 100% business. I know you went for this conference so you can, learn more marketing strategies so you can help your business and grow your business. And he said, oh my God, he couldn't even believe it. We had to amend his return to include those expenses, and his liability was a lot less. I've seen that with rent. I've seen that with home office deductions and a lot of things. And a lot of these accountants are afraid to deduct travel, meals, or home office expenses because they think it's a red flag. But if you have the right record keeping and you know exactly what the IRS is looking for, what the IRS needs in order for you to back up that expense, there's no reason why you shouldn't deduct that expense. And you can sleep good at night because you have a backup, everything is documented properly. And if the IRS ever asks for anything, it's, in a quick second, coming right up, you get the documentation over to them. It's a beautiful transition. You have nothing to worry about because your bookkeeping is in perfect shape, and it's not in you're not writing it on a piece of paper, and then in 3 years, if you ever get audited, you need to remember where you put it. You put it in a computerized software, and everything, and everything is in order. Everything is organized, so you want that. So again, if you have any questions, let us know. Don't forget about the tax deadlines, and have a great day, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.